drop you off on the middle of the highway in rush hour at 8 in the morning. Seemed like a good idea. It seemed like the best idea.
I'm so yawny this morning.
Oh, okay. Drink your coffee. But no, it actually drastically improved our marriage, I think.
I think it took 2 years.
I think we had to finally say, okay, we can't talk in the morning, so we will drop our kids off at St. Matt's High School, and then we will go into a time. I remember we had to give a gratitude or what we're grateful for each other, and then we had to come up with a blessing. And maybe something that we wanted to ask forgiveness for, and then a prayer. 4 things.
4 things, and then
before we had any talk or discussion, but then every day
we would read a book.
We would read a devotional.
Yeah.
So we went through quite a few of them, and here we are today.
We drove to work together for a long time.
What's your hope for everybody today on Friday?
I hope that I hope that we can find a little piece of joy.
A piece of joy.
A little piece of joy.
A piece of joy. My hope for people is in my morning prayer time, I just had a picture of an ocean, and the hope that we have is that we don't have to drain the ocean to be okay or not to drown. We don't have to do that. It's not about the outside for me to be okay.
You don't have to drain the ocean to be okay.
Yeah.
I actually just said that to somebody yesterday, pretty much. But I said, I remember at the very beginning, all I wanted to do was learn how to be okay if you were never okay. I just had to learn to be okay. If you were not going to be okay, I still needed to be okay.
That's true. That's so healthy. Codependence.
We wouldn't.
Look, I feel like
Leave it there.
Okay, it's just.
Don't rearrange my stuff, man.
Cheers. 22. 22.
This morning, I'm still teary from reading the article about our friends.
That's the hope too.
That are now okay.
And that we can change.
I know.
Yeah, Josh. Shout out to Josh.
And that you never know.
He made a newspaper.
Do you know you never really know what's going on behind closed doors?
You don't. You don't even barely know what's going on behind your closed doors.
Do we have secrets left? I don't think we do. I don't think we really have any secrets left.
The only secrets I have is from myself hiding them from me. Trying to convince me.
Okay, but that's really not much different than what's going on with everybody else because they're all fooling themselves.
And that's why we need people.
And who that we can be honest with.
To be a mirror.
Do you think we really can't be honest with people?
Or we can't be honest with ourselves.
Or we can't be honest with ourselves. Like, because people will say, well, there's no one I can tell.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to tell anybody.
And so maybe it's courage to tell somebody and then tell somebody else and then tell somebody else because it might not go so well the first couple times. It might not go well. Mm-hmm. You might not find any support or peace or solutions. For sure, many times you might not find that. So you just have to keep busting out of your shell.
Keep busting.
All right, I don't know. Anyway, times of reprogramming. Oh, my point was that my eyes are still teary. Can you grab me a Kleenex? Times of reprogramming. Maybe 20 seconds. Do not ask for love. That's not the end of the sentence, actually. So just hold on. Do not ask for love. Ooh. Do not ask for love unless you're ready to be healed enough to give and receive love. Do not ask for joy unless you're ready to feel and release your pain so you can feel joy. Do not ask for success unless you're ready to conquer the behaviors that would sabotage success. Would it be nice if we could imagine ourselves having or becoming and then immediately receiving what we wanted? We can have and be the good things we want. All good things are ours for the asking, but first, groundwork, preparation work must be done. A gardener would not plant seeds unless the ground was adequately prepared to nurture and nourish those seeds. The planting would be a wasted effort. It would be wasted effort for us to get what we wanted before we were ready. First, we need to become aware of our need or desire. That may not be easy. Many of us have become accustomed to shutting off the inner voice of our wants, needs, and desires. Sometimes life has to work hard to get our attention. Next, we let go of the old programming, the behaviors and beliefs that interfere with nurturing and nourishing the good. Many of us have strong sabotaging programs, learned from childhood, that need to be released. We may need to act as if for a while, until the belief that we deserve the good becomes real. We combine this process with much letting go, while we are being changed at the core. There is a naturalness to this process, but it can be intense. Things take time. Good things are ours for the asking if we are willing to participate in the work of groundbreaking, work and wait. Today, God, give me the courage to identify the good I want in my life and ask for it. Give me also the faith and stamina I need to go through the work that must be accomplished first.
That's a good hope. We can be reprogrammed. We can be, all the things that we created can be destroyed in our belief systems and our thinking can be destroyed and reprogrammed. I remember running the treatment center. We had a class, and then after class there was a new guy, and he stopped me in the hallway, and he's like, I don't like what you're doing here. I don't like what's going on in that class. He goes, you're just trying to brainwash us. And I kind of was a little I thought of being defensive, and then I was just like, yeah, I think that's a good thing if that happens. That's what you need. That's what we need.
Especially if our brain is working against us, which
oh my goodness,
so often
we have these addictive brains that tell us what we think we need, and then when we get it, we hate it, and why would I want this? And when we come into recovery, I think it's the same thing. It's like we still have these programs that go, this is how I need to feed myself, clothe myself. This is what the expectations of recovery is. And if we operate out of that broken thinking, then we get the same result.
And I think you use the word addictive, but also I think that it doesn't even necessarily need to be addiction. That, even so often, I was talking with actually a medical professional, and we were talking about a certain mental health disorder, and they were saying, like, people just don't follow through. They don't actually want, we have these methods that they can use, that they can have, that, we're like, hey, if you do this and this, and they don't follow through.
It's just easier to pop a pill.
Yeah, and sometimes I get it, like you're actually, your mental health is working against you, but are there little things that we can put in place, and small things? And I love, can maybe my mental health, or even sometimes it's my physical condition, maybe I don't have an addiction, but maybe I actually have a physical condition that prevents me from participating in life the way that I would like to, but I can still adequately prepare the ground to nurture and nourish seeds. There's still things that I can do to take care of myself and release old beliefs and old programming.
And the thing is, we don't want to get into behavioral management, behavioral changes, and expect different results, because that's still operating on itself. And what I've really come to understand is what you worship will change your heart. Right. So if I start to worship, and that means giving everything to something in hopes of life and validation in return. So if I give everything that I have to alcohol, I worship alcohol, then my behaviors will change. My heart will change. And if I do the same thing with God, it might not be this instant thing. Like alcohol gives you ease and comfort, but so does worship to God. It gives you ease and comfort.
So that's where you use the term addiction, because you're not necessarily talking about substances or alcohol or pornography even. You're actually really talking about anything in life that
whatever we worship,
bringing me ease and comfort. It could be
because we try to change our behavior to change our circumstance. We actually can't do that. So we just the 12 steps isn't the solution. It brings us to a new solution, which is to worship God, to give everything I have to God in hopes of a new life and validation. So that's where we have a surrendered heart. If we just get sober, or we get new relationships and the clouds start clearing and the storm settles and we just start to change our behavior. That's compliance. And compliance, people don't sober. And they might go through 6 months, a year, 5 years. But when the storm happens, we go back to that ease and comfort. So,
and again, when you use the term sober, you're actually thinking like of just like good living, of my brain actually being in order and actually working for me, and not, and being able to receive love, and being able to experience joy, and being able to.
But some people can stay sober, but it doesn't mean they're recovered.
That's what I'm thinking, because if you're using the term addiction to apply to like any of these behaviors in life that are my ease and comfort, then when you're using the term sober, you're talking about having God as my solution, which would mean that my life is actually showing the fruit of that solution.
Well, we have a heart. We are programmed to worship. So whatever we worship will rewire us. So in time, worshiping God, the Creator, and not created things, then it's not about behavior change. It's actually about a heart transplant. And so it's nothing that I can do. But in our minds, it's like in early recovery, that was my battle for 2 years of trying to like get my life back on track. But I don't want my life. That was the problem. And I need a new life back. Yeah, but I have a trade. I have 2 trades. I have a AZ license. I have all these things.
The first time I really understood what that means, we were created to worship, I was actually at a Garth Brooks concert. Not the first time I understood that, but it was another
Everybody
time.
puts their lighters up.
I was up on a balcony, and I'm looking at this packed stadium of all these people, and their spirit, their hearts, their minds are turned to worship. And I thought, if you could just see God, if you could just experience
that's
God.
That's what we did with God. Yeah, that was powerful. Let's put a lighter on to God. Well, that is the hope, that we can be reprogrammed. We can be. We could go from Windows 7 to Windows 10, or no, not from Apple's to Microsoft. Anyway,
adequately nourished and watered, and that we would be fruit like a garden. Watching everything grow at this time of year is so exciting, to see those little plants grow.
And I was watching the leaves grow overnight.
Yeah.
The next day it was like there's green on the trees. Yeah. It's amazing.
You don't always see it that quickly.
No.
Especially in people.
Yeah.
Me.
What we worship.
We saw it in you.
Will change our hearts. What we worship will change our heart. So if we worship a loving God, our hearts will change. All right. Have a good Friday. Tomorrow, are we doing the contest tomorrow?
Well, yeah. So you want people, they gotta like or comment or tomorrow.
Do something. Engage.
What if they like or comment today?
Okay.
Can we include them